Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing very well. All right, so in the last video we went through the introduction of HTML, and we are continuing from this video. Okay, so in this video we are going to do CSS. So we are going to pick the work that we did from the previous video and enhance it, adding the CSS, some styles to it. Okay, so not wasting much time now, we will start the presentation. Okay, but before then, let's take a walk through what the CSS is. CSS is cascaded style sheet. Okay, cascaded style sheet, and what it does is as the name implies, it adds styles to your HTML content. All right, so how many types of them do we have? We have three types. We have the inline, we have internal, and we have external. In this video we are going to do inline and internal. Okay, inline and internal. In the next video we'll handle the external. All right, a bit of the external. Probably in this set of tutorials, the external will not be used that much. Yeah, I'll be using the internal and the inline a lot. We're using them a lot. Okay, so let's start the presentation. Practical present. This is a practical presentation. All right, so let's start and see how we can apply CSS to our work. All right. Okay. All right. So let me increase. Okay. So we still have our index. This is the index file that we created from the previous video. So let me just hide this and increase the presentation view. All right, so I think now you can see it's clearer. All right, so let's add something here. So now when you pick any web page, right, every web page is divided into, okay, they have two divisions. We have the rows and the columns. All right, rows and the columns. So if you want to group your content, group the content, all right, so that they will appear very nice. So if you have not taken notice, when you visit any website, you realize the content there are grouped. They are grouped. We have image here, we have some text here, we have other text here, other image here, other tables here, and all those things, they are grouped. And those groups, we use the element div to handle those groups. All right, so in here we are going to introduce a new element, a new tag called the div tag. All right, good. So we will use the div to do the groupings, and we will try to add the CSS to the groupings. But I want us to appreciate what we are about to do, all right, in this presentation. So I'll show you a certain design that we are coming to implement. All right. Okay, so let me maximize this. All right, I think it's still clear. All right, so this is what we are coming to do. Okay, we are coming to create something like this. We have the header and the body, then the footer. Then inside the body we have subdivisions. All right, so this is what we are coming to do. At the end of the day, our web content that we're coming to create should depict this. Should depict this design. Okay, all right, so let me minimize this. All right, so let's start. So bring the div, then the style. Okay, so I won't bring the style yet. All right, so I'll close the div. Okay, so this is it. That is the container. We have created one div. All right, I've created one div. Now let's style it. Okay, because if you run this file right now, you are going to have empty, a clean slate, empty slate. So let's try to save. Control S, then let's run it and see how it will appear. Okay, you see we have the hello world and we have a blank page. All right, So now let's give it a style. We are creating the header, so let's give it a style. So we come back here, then we introduce a style. So the style inside this div forms part of this attribute. Do you get it? This div can have several attributes. You can have the class, you can have the ID, we can have the name, we can have a lot of them. Okay, you can have lots of them here. So we add the style, and the style we want to give a height. Okay, height, let's say height, background color, and a text and other things. Okay, so now we have to give it a height. So the IntelliSense, this is IntelliSense. These things you see, as soon as you type, this thing drops down here. We call it IntelliSense, right? So I click on height, and I give the height 100 pixels, px. Then I give a color, a background color. Background color to be black. Okay. To be black. All right, so Control S to save. Control S to save. Then I go to the browser to check what we have done so far. Voila. So we have the header created. Do you get it? We have it created here. Okay. So this is simple thing that we have done. So with the help of this CSS, we've been able to, add a color, a style to the header that we created. All right, with the help of the CSS. Okay, so in here, let's try to. So this is what we refer to as the inline. Okay, this is an inline. So the name is inline. Inline means the effects, the style that you are styling, the effect takes place on a certain line within the code. Do you get it? Okay. While the internal serves as a global declaration. Let me put it that way. The internal appears, we put the internal inside the head. Okay, inside the head. Though it can be at anywhere. Not necessarily, but by default, the correct standard is it's supposed to be inside the head. Alright. Okay, so what we are doing now is the inline styling. Okay. Alright, so let's add a text. Okay, let's add a text in here. So remember the H1, so let's say H2 header, and let's call it header. Okay, so let's run it. Let's save. Control S, and let's save it, and let's load it here and see what we have done. So we have something here, right? We have something here, but because the text is black and the background is black, we can't see it. So we have to go and change and add a color, change the color. Okay, the default color is black, so we have to give it a color of our choice. All right, good. So use the CSS to give it a color. All right, so that it will appear separately here. Do you get it? Okay, so we go back. Then inside the tag, we give a space, we introduce a style, then you call it color. So the color, we are saying it should appear in a white color form. Are we good? Okay, so let's go there and see how it works. So you save, Control save, then you reload. Good, we have the header here, but we want the header to appear in the center. Okay, we want the header, the text here, to appear in the center. Okay, so what do? We set the text align. Semicolon. So we have text align to center. So you see we have several alignments here, just as you are doing when you are doing typing in Microsoft Office Word. You have several alignments. You can just, that one you click and it takes effect, but here you code it. All right, so this is coding. It's interesting. So we select center, then we save, Control S, then we go back to our web page, then reload. Voila, this is what we want to do. Okay, so here too we can also, use the same paragraph. We can use P to also display this. We can use one tag called span to also do the same thing. So let's try and see. So I will just copy and paste this one. Or no, I won't copy and paste, else it will confuse you. So let me just enter and bring P. So after that one, I'll comment the top, the first one, then display the second one. Okay, so I'll show you how to do commenting in HTML too. All right, so P, that's a paragraph. Then I bring the same thing, header. Then I'll go into the styling. I'll introduce the color to white. Then the text align to be center. Okay, so let's go in there and see how that one is faring. Good. So we have it here because the header, the P. Okay. All right. So this one is using H2. H2 automatically comes in a bold form. So it comes in a bold form. By default, it's bolded. The text will be bolded by default. But you see the P is just a normal text. Do you get it? And if you want to make it bold, you have to now program it to make it to appear bolder. Okay. So don't worry. We are going to add some more styles to it to make it bolder. All right. We change the font size and make the text bolder. Okay. So we go back. So let's comment the first one. So in HTML, if you are doing commenting in HTML, this is the syntax. You bring your less than, then exclamation mark, then double minus sign. Okay, then wherever you want the comment to end, you bring minus, then greater than. So we have commented this line off. All right, so let's check, let's save and go to our browser and see the effect of it. So we have the P up, the paragraph up. Okay, so now let's add some styles to it to make it big. All right, make it bigger and bolder. Okay, so let's go back. So we have the center, we have color, text align. So now let's set the font size to, let's say, 15 pixels. All right, and let's see what it does. What is happening here? 15 is smaller. Okay, so now let's do 20 pixels. So you keep changing it until you get your desired result. All right, until you get to desired result. So we can take it to 30. You can take it to 30. There you have it. All right, so that is it. You can also add the bold. You can make it bolder. All right, so the bold in a normal form is bold, but in HTML we call it font weight, the weight of the font. All right, so we set it font weight. Okay, so font weight is here. Then we select bold for it. So let's save, Control S, then let's reload it and see how it will appear. So you see it's now bolder. Good. So we now have our H2. We now have our H2 here. Okay, the H2 tag. All right, so the font size has been increased to H2 level. So now let's go and try and use the span to work on the same header and see. All right, see the differences. All right, so on this same work can be done 3 times. Displaying one thing can be done 3 times. All right, so let's use the span. Just span. We style it. So we bring the header. All right, let me just bring this thing. Header. And let's see how it appears here too. Okay, the color. Let me bring in the color. The color is white. Okay, then text align, center. Okay, so let's see how that one to appear. it is appearing here. Okay, so let's comment this and now deal with this. Okay, so now I want to extend the comment from here to the P. So I've commented them all. So now let's see how the span also appears on the web page. Okay, so now I have this. All right, so we'll try and use the margin left to push it to the center. Okay, margin left to, let's say, 50%. So you want to push it from the left side, and you should move 50% from the left side. Okay, so let's see if it will work. It's working. So it has divided the thing into two. It has moved it from that side to this side. All right. So let's do the font size. Let's do the font size. So the font size, let's make it 30 as well. 30 pixels. Let's see how it will load. Okay, it's bigger now. Let's make the font weight bold. Yeah, true. Okay, so the same header has been applied 3 times. We use the H2, we use the P, the paragraph, and we use the span. Okay, so let's continue to the other design. So it means from our design here, our goal, we have achieved the first goal. All right, we have achieved the first goal. So we are going to the second goal. The second goal. So let's go back to the code. Okay, so I'll now comment. Okay, let me leave it like that. Let's use the span. We use the span. Okay, so now the header is done. So we're now going to a different div. Okay, so now I'll come here, the end of this first div. I'll enter. Okay, press the enter key. Then I'll bring the div here. Then the style. You see, that's the body. This was the header. This one I'm coming to do is the body. So we make the height bigger than the first one. Okay, so let's set the height to, let's say, 500. Okay, 500 pixels. Then we set the background color to aqua. Okay, so these are the two. Then we close the tab. So we are in the second phase. So let's go and see how this new effect has taken place. Let's reload. Bing. We're making progress. Okay, we're making progress. So we have the body here too. So now let's put a caption here called body. Let's put a caption here called body. So we will borrow from the header. We can copy this and paste it here. Okay, for easy access, we can just copy this and paste it here. So I'm going to copy here. Control C, or right click and do copy. We have Control C here. So these are the shortcuts. And when I'm pasting, I'll use Control X. Okay, so Control C. I'll put a cursor here, and I'll press Control X. Control V to paste. Sorry, Control V to paste. Control X is cut. Control C is copy. Then Control V is paste. So even if I right click here, I'll see paste. Control V here. Do you get it? So I click on Control V, and I have it here, the duplicate of this one. So I'll change the header here to body. Or body. I'll save it. Then I'll check from my browser and see how that one too appears. Okay, so we have the body. So here you see this color, the aqua color, has a lot of white in it, so it's trying to fuse the body color white that we have. So let's make the color of the body black. Okay, let's make it black so that it will stand out. All right, So let's set the color to from white to black. And let's see how it appears. Good. So we now have a visible body color here, the text here. All right. So now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to divide this major div, okay, into separate. Okay, let's bring the footer here before we bring this division, else it will be kind of complicated kaka. So let's bring the footer here. Okay, then we are done with the head, body and footer as I spoke of in the previous video. Okay, we have the head, the body and the footer. Okay, so we go back to the code. Then at the end of this div, okay, at the end of this div, I bring another div, a final div. Then I'll bring the style here, the background color. Okay, the height should be, let's say 50 or 100 pixels. Okay, then the background color should be red or wine. Okay, we have brown here. Okay, all right, so I have my footer here. So with this, I want to put the text in it. Okay, I want to put this text in it, so I'll do a paste here, Control V. So you see I have the same thing here, okay, with the same settings here. I'll just change the name here to footer. And since this background is brown has darker color, content of a bit of dark in it, so the white on it will be okay. The white font color on it will be okay. So let's save, Control S, then let's see how it will appear here. Voila. Okay, voila. So we are done with our divisions. So we have the header, we have the body, and we have the footer. Okay, the header, the body, and the footer. So these are the basic standard of website development, like web content, web page development. Yeah. So if you visit any website, every website that you visit has this structure. Definitely, you have a header where you see the menu and the icon there, the logo of the website there. Then beneath it, you see some images, sliders or static images with some other content, vision, mission, activities about us and other things. Then a footer, how to contact us, our information, our social media handles and other things will be there. Okay, so this is the structure that we have laid in. So now let's see our benchmark. So we have done the header, the body, and the footer. Okay, so now we are going to the body and create subdivisions in them, 3 subdivisions in them. Okay, then we are done with our first we are done with the CSS. Okay, then we plan the second video, the next video. Okay, so you should try hands-on. This is very simple. You should try hands-on. So let's go back to our work. Okay, so back to our work. So now we go to the body. This is the body. That's where we want to add the other 3 divs. Okay, 3 subdivisions. So I'll put the cursor at the end of the span, and I'll click on enter to give me space. Okay, so I introduce a div here. I introduce 3 divs. Okay, 3 divs, and they are going to have some style effects. Okay, some equal style effects. 2 of them will have additional ones, but all of them are going to have the basic 3 main basic ones. Okay, so here we have the height. Okay, we'll set the height to 300 pixels. Okay, 300 pixels. Then we set the width to 32%. Okay, 32%. Then the background color set the background color to, let's say, yeah, antique white. Then we close it. All right, so we do three duplications of this one. All right, so Control D, where the cursor is, I just put Control D. I click on Control, then click and hold. Press and hold the Control key and press the D 2 times. Okay, then I'll change this color, this background color, to, let's say, let's say a certain blue. I'll change this one to a certain azure. No, let me make a okay, this one green. This will be okay. All right, so now let's go to our page and see how it appears. Okay, let's go to the page and see how it appears. So we come here, reload. Okay, so we see, you see how they are appearing. Okay, so they are appearing in the vertical form, but we want it to appear in the horizontal form. All right, horizontal, not vertical. So let's introduce a new tab. Let's introduce a new style called float. So we are going to float all of them. We are going to float all of them to the left. Okay, that will help us make them align in a horizontal form. Okay, so let's bring in floating. So float left. Let's go back here, the next one, then bring float, float, say left. The last one, float left. All right, so let's see how they are now behaving. Good. Do you get it? All right, so we don't want how this one is appearing here. Okay, we don't like how it's appearing. So we go back there, and the span, we'll give this span to a div. We want it to be in a div. Okay, so the div automatically picks the entire row. So we create a div for it so that it will occupy the entire row and keep the span in it, right? So that it will be organized. Okay. So we introduce a new div here. Div. Okay, that's a container. We just copy this div. The div that is bearing the body text. Okay, we just put it in here. Okay, all right. Save. Control S. Save. Then we run it and see how it appears. All right. So now you see it has balanced itself. You're not having a balanced divs, sub divs. Okay. So let's see. These heights are very short. So let's increase these heights. All right. Let's increase the subdivisions height. So we have here, this height is 300. Let's make it 400 each. 400 each. Let's see. It's quite encouraging. Let's add 50 to them. Okay, let's add 50 to them. 5, 5, 5. Good. I think it's okay now. Okay. All right. So now you see they are all joined together. Now let's give a space. Try to space them out. Okay. So we are going to space this and this. All right. So in doing that one, we're bringing a new style called margin left. And we say we should move 2% from the left border to the right. Okay, I'll copy and paste it. Sorry, it won't be on the first one, sorry, but it's on the second and the third one. Okay, All right, so theme, we are good, well calculated. It's well calculated, but if you are new, you can start with 1, 2, 3 and see how it moves gradually to that end. Okay. All right, so when you advance, you can just gauge the divisions at once, and it will just go. All right. Okay, so now I think we are closer to our, okay, we are very close. So now let's bring in the titles. Okay, then we are done. How simple it is. Okay, so now let's come to, so these are the ones that we are working on. Okay, and they are all inside this body div. Okay, this body div. So this is the caption here, body, which can be seen on the page. All right, then these are the 3 divs that we just created. All right, so the first one, in the first one, we are going to add a header. Okay, so let's use h2, right? H2, and let's say the text is subdivision 1. Okay, so let's see how it appears there. So we have subdivision 1 here, but we want it to appear in the center. All right, in the center. So we bring in here, we style it, style, text align, center. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's run it and see. Okay, so we have text align center here. So let's do a copy and paste. We copy this, then in a second subdivision we bring it here, then we label this one 2, then the third one we label it, we paste and label it 3. Okay, so we have it here. All right, so we save and run. Let's run it and see how they will appear. Okay, so I'll make the blue and this final color here. You see they are having dark content in them, in the color. They get it. So we have to bring this one white, make it white on the 2 of them, so that they will shout as this one is shouting on this color. Okay. All right. Because if you leave it this way, it doesn't speak well. Your clients, your visitors, your people who access your website will struggle to read. They get it, and it's bad to the eye. Okay. So we just make the color here. We just set this color to white. Then we set the color to white. We run it and see how they now appear. Good. So at this point, we have been able to achieve our design here. Not the same, but it looks alike, right? So we have the header here, we have the body, subdivision 1, 2 and 3, the footer. And when we minimize it and we go to our website, we have the same thing here. Okay, very nice. It looks very nice. Okay, so now let's view the page source and see the things that are hidden and the things that are showing. Okay, so view page source. So this is what we have done so far. This is what we have done, and the body, the content in the body, okay, that are displaying there is header, body, division 1, subdivision 2, subdivision 3 and the footer. The rest here inside the tag elements, the elements here are telling the browser to display this header this way, display the body this way, display this, and the browser understands that communication. Okay, that is why it's not displaying the CSS content here and other things, but it's rather applying the effects on the divs. Do you get it? And the text. All right, so that is how it is. So this is a simple HTML that we have created. Okay, so with this simple designs that we made, how many lines of code did we use? We used only 35 lines of code. Okay, in the future we'll be dealing with thousands of lines of code on one page. It's very simple. Okay, all right, so let's flip back. If achieved our purpose here. So far so good. So this is what we have done so far. Okay, so we'll bring this presentation to a closure. All right, so I'll entreat you to practice it. Take your time and practice it, and make sure you also come out with that output. All right, come out with that output. And I'll try to organize all these codes to the website for you to also download it, then play around them. But before that, just try to work around these ones and see how they will appear. All right, okay, so I'm sure you now have your test editors ready and other things. So I'll pause here. Okay, we'll end this tutorial. Then in the next tutorial, we are going to handle bootstrap. Okay, we're going to handle bootstraps and images. Bootstrap and images. So we are going to advance. We are going to do the same design that we did here in using bootstrap effects. Okay, using bootstrap effects. So I'll bring this video. We'll end here, and I'll urge you all to subscribe and share the video. Okay, and let's wait for the next video that will come. Same on the CSS, but with bootstrap and images, adding images to it and other buttons and other things to it. Okay, all right, thank you very much for staying with me. Bye bye.